You know that feeling when your dog hears a treat bag from 3 rooms away, but somehow your business is invisible on Google? At SearchHound, your marketing companion, we help businesses get found online so customers don't have to go digging. From SEO to Google business profiles to showing up in AI search results, we help the right people find you right when they're looking. So whether you own a business or you know someone who could use more leads, point them in the right direction. Visit searchhoundseo.com and let's get your business on the set.
And love has many faces. See it in the eyes that look right into your soul. Love has many faces. Proud and humble, beautiful and plain, and young and old.
Hello and welcome to Love Has Many Faces. I'm your host, Marilyn Milano, here on Alternative Talk 1150. And today I'm going to be revisiting a conversation I actually sat down and had with my producer, Eric Ryder. And this was regarding the sloths in Florida. Now, many of you have probably already heard of this by now, but some may have not. Sloth World was an exhibit that was going to open in Florida. A lot of the sloths that were supposed to be in the exhibit were handled improperly, not fed properly, not housed properly, and many died. At the time that I recorded this conversation, the people who were caring for them, which include the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens, there were 13 surviving sloths. At this point, 4 of those have passed away, but the others are improving. So it was very sad to lose 4 of them. But several have now been moved out of critical care and are doing a lot better, and they're working to help the others as well. So I will share again, slothconservation.org is one of the groups that's helping. The Jaguar Rescue Foundation is helping, and of course, Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. So the conversation brings you into what happened initially. My update here is just kind of bringing you up to speed on what's happened over the last few weeks. And thank you for listening and for caring about them. So we're going to take a short break and I will come back with that information. And a reminder, all of our shows are on podcasts now. So you can go to any place you find your podcasts, your favorites, and simply type in Love Has Many Faces podcast, and it will take you right there. So thanks again. I'm Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces here on Alternative Talk 1150.
You know that feeling when your dog hears a treat bag from 3 rooms away, but somehow your business is invisible on Google? At SearchHound, your marketing companion, we help businesses get found online so customers don't have to go digging. From SEO to Google business profiles to showing up in AI search results, we help the right people find you right when they're looking. So whether you own a business or you know someone who could use more leads, point them in the right direction. Visit searchhoundseo.com and let's get your business on the set.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to NewProSupplements.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, June 14th, it's our energy balancing show, and best practitioner and energy codes gal, Linda Rasmussen, will join us. We'll take your phone calls, and Linda will help you or your animal friends with emotional, behavioral, or physical issues. I hope you can join us and plan to call in for your free remote treatments. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Make us part of your daily routine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Well, hello and welcome back to Love Has Many Faces. I am your host, Marilyn Milano, and I am here with my show's producer, Eric Ryder, and we're just going to have a conversation about sloths and wildlife in general and how people can learn more and help if they are so inclined. So first of all, Eric, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Hi, Marilyn. Happy to be here with you.
Yeah, well, the events of the last several days in the news calling attention to the plight of some of the sloths that were supposed to be part of a tourist attraction, it really upset me. It broke my heart. I've always been a little bit of a sloth nerd, and they just are whimsical, wonderful creatures. I'm a big dog person, and have always been an animal lover. But over the last few years, sloths have kind of captured my heart. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened, maybe offer some sources of information and some ways that people might be able to help or maybe just even learn more.
Yeah, I feel like there's everybody has that one wild animal that they identify with. Like it feels like it reflects their personality in some way. Not saying that you're slothful or anything, but just you feel a connection with them, which I can relate to for sure.
I mean, they have some odd quirks. They eat leaves. They're very cute. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the cuteness is the thing we have in common. Just joking. But I'm actually more of a fast mover and I don't live in the trees.
Sure.
And definitely don't have nests of moths and beetles in my body or on my body. But there's something about their faces. They are so endearing and they're very calm. I don't know, just seeing their photos, seeing the pictures, seeing the interactions with the caregivers and so forth. I just love them. And so I heard about what happened and I wanted to call some attention to it.
Well, so there's just too much news in the world, I feel like, these days, because I didn't hear about this at all, except when you emailed me and said, hey, we need to talk about this on the show, which, of course, I'm always happy to do. But for listeners like me, can you give us a little more details on what specifically the news story that inspired this conversation today?
Yes, and again, I wanted to, emphasize here, I'm not the expert, and I'm getting my information from multiple sources, but I have checked sources and read repeat stories, and so hopefully there aren't any errors in what I will be sharing, but I will be sharing websites as well. So apparently, there was a sloth exhibit that was set to open in Florida, and it was called Sloth World. And during the past year or so, I guess a number of sloths were imported from Central America. This is where most of the sloths live. And I guess some of the proper precautions weren't taken. There is some question as to the legality of how they were imported. They were not necessarily kept in the right temperature-controlled climates because sloths need a warm and fairly humid environment because they live in the rainforests. And there was some other question about, how they were handled, the flights and so forth. So what came to light is that, and it depends which source you see, but they said dozens of sloths had died. I don't know the exact number, but these are all two-toed sloths. Now, to just step back for a moment, again, being a sloth nerd, what I have learned is that there are 6 common types of sloth. 4 of them have 3 toes, and 2 of them, the Hoffman's two-toed sloth and the Linnaeus two-toed sloth, those are the two-toed variety. Now, the Hoffmans and the Linnaeus, they're the ones that have a little bit more of a little pronounced nose. The 3-toed sloths are the ones that you see that look like they're perennially smiling. They're all very cute. But again, if anybody is curious, you can go online, Google 3 and 2-toed sloths, say that quickly 10 times, and learn more about them. So anyway, there was some question. There is question as to whether criminal charges are going to be filed against the owners of Sloth World. Sloth World is now not going to open. They shut it down. They shut the website down. And 13 sloths were rescued by the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. So far, 2 of those have passed away. They have had trouble with digestive issues. Again, the exposure to the temperatures and so forth wasn't good. They lost a little guy named Bandit, and just yesterday I learned that Habanero passed away. So right now the zoo, the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens, are doing a lot to try to help the remaining sloths. They're under constant care. They're getting medication, the right foods. My heart just breaks for these little guys and gals.
Yeah, it's just so wild that non-accredited places or people that are not experts are able to, import wild animals into this country without having strict regulations on how those animals are handled. I feel like there should be something preventing this sort of thing. But What are some misunderstandings about sloths and wildlife in general that can lead to these kind of things?
Well, I mean, okay, so sloths are very cute. Now, I actually did visit an exhibit up at Deception Pass. They seemed to be well cared for. There were five of them. It was in a climate-controlled environment. They were the two-toed sloths. But I was told, okay, don't try to pick them up or anything. We don't let people pick them up because if you're online, you will see people handling the sloths. A lot of these sloths may not be able to return to the wild. They may be in a sanctuary for a reason, and they're very sweet, and people are gentle with them. But in general, wildlife is not usually set up to be handled by people. It can be stressful to them. I think because sloths can be cute and endearing, and they've also been featured in Disney films and so forth, in the animated versions. People, they like them. They think they're cute. I think people want to go have their pictures taken with sloths. I know that I took some pictures with them, but they told me don't get too close. At one point, the fellow said, I think he'd like to take a bite out of your arm. And I was like, oh, not so cuddly. Okay. But the cuteness and some of the marketing where you see these creatures, and again, I know that in many cases they are treated well and treated gently, but I think there is a lot that needs to be considered. I have heard that humans handling sloths, it can be stressful for the animals. And so I think maybe people get the wrong idea or they want that interaction because they're so endearing. And then perhaps entrepreneurs see an opportunity to open up an exhibit and let people have that interactive experience. And then it can lead to, seeking profit and maybe either not knowing or not caring. I do not know if it was negligence or if they purposefully skirted laws. I know that PETA is filing a suit. I know that people are very distraught. So again, I don't want to spread false information. And if you check online, if you check the centralfloridazoo.org website, there is information about those sloths. And you can just Google a headline too to see what the latest is. So I am going by what I have read and what I know. But to get back to your question, I think the fact that they can be enduring creatures, and I think this is true of other wildlife too. I mean, capybaras, perhaps some of the small monkeys, meerkats, different things like that. A lot of them are very cute and people want to have an experience with them, but they are, after all, wild animals, and we want them to be safe and healthy.
Agreed. Well, what's being done to help these sloths?
Well, as I said a little bit ago, Central Florida Zoo right now has them in their care from what I understand. That Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. They are monitoring them around the clock. They are making sure the diets are correct. They're giving fluids and medication. And I have been told that they could use donations and support. So if you go to centralfloridazoo.org, there are some places I believe that you can donate. I also want to mention a couple of other centers that are helping. One is the Sloth Conservation, and actually their website is slothconservation.org. A person I know, and I'll get to that part later, said that this woman who runs this, Becky, is working closely to help these particular sloths. So that's slothconservation.org. And also the Jaguar Rescue Center, and their website is jaguarrescue.foundation, and that's JAGUARRESCUE.foundation.
Excellent. Well, are there other organizations that one can donate to that can help protect wildlife and these sloths, for instance?
Well, I think there are a lot of different groups that are out there that want to help educate about wildlife. And I mean, so if you have a heart for them, just find one that is accredited. And again, these three that I have mentioned are definitely doing things to help. And the Jaguar Rescue Center, for example, is not just a sloth center. They also educate and help other wildlife. One of the things that some of the groups are doing is working to cover power lines. Sloths live in trees, and they often use ropes and things that are in the forest, naturally occurring jungle type ropes of leaves and such to get around. If you ever see them, they're hanging upside down a lot of the time. But there are also a lot of power lines, and sloths can become electrocuted. So there are efforts in place to cover these lines. and make them safe so that if a sloth is traversing one of these lines, um, they can get across. Also, they are slow, so they live up in the trees, which keeps them away from predators. But also, they can you may see online sometime a video of a sloth crossing the road. They're very, very slow, and yet you need to be careful if you're handling them. They do have sharp teeth and long claws. They're not mean, but if they're frightened, they could they could reach out. So again, it's important to know what you are doing. But these groups have information, and I just I just love these little guys. They're peaceful. They live up there eating leaves. There are a couple of cute facts about sloths. Apparently, they only do their sloth doo-doo once a week. And so they come out of the trees to do that. And I understand that they can lose like a third of their body weight when they do their weekly poo. I've also learned that when a female sloth is ready to find a mate so she can have little sloths, she will sit up in the trees and scream. And it may attract different mates, so they may have one or more daddies with the sloths. But I mean, in general, it's a very short mating process. I mean, they don't do their doo-doo very often. They eat leaves. They're just fascinating creatures. They go back almost like to prehistoric times. I mean, they're just so unusual and interesting, and they are in danger. So we want to protect them. We want to make sure if there are zoos or botanical gardens that are featuring these animals, that they're treated properly. We want to educate about that, and we want to encourage people not to support organizations they don't know about. We don't want to encourage the willful or just neglectful mistreatment of these wild little guys.
Yeah. And what can we do if we want to help? Should we just donate to these organizations you mentioned? And again, you mentioned Jaguar Rescue Center and Sloth Conservation as one of the organizations.
Yes, I mean, those are great places to start. I would say get online, go to those websites, read a little bit. You can Google the sloth world, shutting down and read about what happened and just get educated a bit. And then I definitely suggest, even if it's a small donation, if it just moves your heart, um, send a little bit of money, spread the word. I mean, you said yourself, you're very informed. You're working at a news talk station, and yet there's so much news that with everything happening in the world, it's very easy to miss stories like these if you're not specifically looking for them. And so, I would encourage people to educate themselves, spread the word, share links, talk about it, see what they can do to help. And then there's a local store here that is going to be doing something that's kind of cool as well.
Well, very good. Tell us about that. I mean, local efforts are always the best efforts to get involved with, I think. So what's happening here in Seattle?
Well, so as people who have listened to my show before might know, being a sloth nerd, I fell in love with a store that opened up in Magnolia. The first store, Robot versus Sloth, is down by the Big Wheel in the Pike Place Market area. And last spring, they opened up the Magnolia Robot versus Sloth store. And in general, and I don't work for them. I mean, I don't get a toaster for talking about them. I just happen to love their store and what they're doing. They have a number of different artists, including the owner, that create stuffies, and they have made dish towels and mugs and all kinds of things. And they regularly give a portion of their sales back to the Jaguar Rescue Center. And they also give to the Seattle Animal Shelter here locally, and also to the Pride Foundation. But they are going to be doing a special project, according to the owner. So keep your eyes open for this. You can go to Robot versus Sloth and check it out, and I will be checking it out as well. What Lauren, the artist, the main artist and owner of the store, is hoping to do is create stuffed versions, little stuffed animals, one for each of the 31 sloths that came into the care of the Central Florida Zoo, those that had survived. I'm sorry, one for each of the 31 that passed away, I think. Okay, so I am not 100% clear whether it's one for each of those or for those that are surviving. But in any event, she will be doing originals of these. They will be sold. I don't know what the price point will be, but all of the proceeds will go to slothconservation.org to help with this effort. So I would say keep your eyes open, visit Robot versus Sloth, or if you're curious, you can call up the store and ask when those might be ready. I know it takes a while for designs to come to fruition, but because they have been active, in fact, they opened their store because they loved the sloths. They fell in love with them when they were in Costa Rica many years ago. They are keeping on top of what is happening. And if you're curious about other local efforts, stop in the store, give them a call. And then again, look for these slots that will come out. And hopefully, in the next few weeks, while people are still aware of what's going on, and then they will sell them, and all the proceeds will benefit the sloth conservation group.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anything else about this topic you want to shed some light on?
Well, I just think again, there is so much difficult news in the world these days on all fronts, right? We don't need to list them. It's everywhere. And when we see innocent animals that are hurting, whether it's dogs and cats because of overcrowded shelters, whether it's wildlife, birds, the donkeys that are in the sanctuaries, I think if each of us is just able to take a moment out of our day and find that part of ourselves that wants to do something kind. One of my big slogans that I live by is do something, okay? And I heard this song by the Eagles years ago called Do Something. And I thought, yes, if everybody did something, anything, $5, $10, sharing an email, anything, if everybody who cares does something. So I would just say, find that specific part of you that may resonate with animals. Maybe it'll resonate with wildlife. If sloths aren't your thing, perhaps you'll want to reach out and help another wildlife species or do something local for our dogs and cats. But I would just encourage anybody who's listening today to take a few minutes, donate the cost of a latte, spread the word via an email, share this story, and encourage people to support the organizations that are helping these little animals. I mean, they are really precious, magical little creatures. They really are. And I think it's so easy to lose sight of the wonder around us. And sometimes Mother Nature isn't friendly either, right? I mean, anybody else traumatized by any of those National Geographic reels from our childhood where the lions eat the wildebeests? And it's like, oh no. I mean, so Mother Nature can be cruel, but if we are doing our best to be kind and provide a safe and humane environment and to make sure that rules and regulations are followed, they are there for a reason, to write, to speak out, to call our senators, to call the people that count, and make our voices for the animals heard. I mean, it's easy to put that aside when there's so much else happening that seems like of monumental importance and hugely frightening. But I think we all need to take time and help our fellow creatures too. That makes the world just a little better place. It makes it a little kinder place. And so again, just the groups that I'm focusing on today, but certainly not the only groups out there. Jaguar Rescue Center, and their website is jaguarrescue.foundation, or the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens, who are specifically working with these particular sloths, and that is centralfloridazoo.org, or Sloth Conservation, and that website is slothconservation.org. So check them out, take a few minutes, donate if you feel so inclined, and share the story. And I'm just really pulling for these remaining sloths because they're precious little souls, and I really want them to be okay. And I'm doing this show to, if we even help one, if even 2 or 3 people become aware and offer some help, then it wasn't for nothing.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you shedding some light on this topic because, as I said, this story passed me by, but I do have a real affinity for wildlife. So it's nice to hear efforts are being made and people are stepping up to
yes, it
help
touched
in
a lot of
situations
people.
like
I
this.
mean, the cutest ones, I think they get more attention, and not all wildlife is cute, and it shouldn't only be the cute ones, but there's something endearing about these little guys. So yes, my hope is that more people will become aware, more people will do something, check out these sites, and then keep your eye on Robot versus Sloth, the little store in Magnolia Village, which is right next door to the main Starbucks in the village. And if you happen to be there, or give them a call to find out what they're going to be doing about the the stuffies and how you might get one of those if you want to be a contributor. So that's about all I have on this for now. We might come back and do an update if I learn more, but I really appreciate you taking time to talk with me about this.
My pleasure as always.
Okay, well, we'll take a short pause and come right back. I'm Marilyn Milano. I've been talking with my show producer, Eric Ryder, about the situation with the sloths that were lost and or injured in Florida, and they're trying to save them. So learn more, visit the websites I mentioned. We'll be right back. I'm Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces here on Alternative Talk 1150.
Hi, this is Marilyn Milano, your host of Love Has Many Faces. The music that you're hearing during this show every week is exclusively original music from my own CDs. If you're enjoying it and would like to order a copy of one of my 2 CDs for yourself or as a gift, just go to marilynmilano.net and you can order directly from the website. I give a portion of every sale back to Animal Rescue because that's part of the whole cause. Thank you for listening and thanks for your support.
Want to hear something different from talk radio? Keep your dial on Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Love Has Many Faces. I'm your host, Marilyn Milano. I hope that you found this information helpful, especially if you've heard it for the first time. I really love sloths. I have a heart for them, as I do for all animals, but I don't know, for some reason, sloths are special to me. And so I hope if you find it in your heart to help, that you'll reach out to one of these organizations that is doing some good work here. A reminder, every episode of our show is now podcast, and we are listened to on the radio over the airwaves on 1150 KKNW Alternative Talk 1150 each Tuesday morning from 9 to 9:30 Pacific time. Our mission is to raise awareness, touch hearts, and save the lives of animals. And in doing that, we are also helping the people who love them as well. So thank you for caring. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, I'm your host of Love Has Many Faces, Marilyn Milano. You've been listening to Alternative Talk 1150.